Live again. And today I want to talk about the thing about entrepreneurship that I think a lot of people don't see is that you really don't see the net until you leap. Let me explain. I made a note. I made that note in a card in Trello back in May. On May 19th, I said, the thing about entrepreneurship is that you don't see the net until you leap. And my thinking was that as an employee, if you're wrong 10% of the time, it is very likely you're going to hear about it. It's not going to go well. As an entrepreneur, you're lucky if you're right 10% of the time. Like, you're crushing it. Therein lies the difference. And while I've mentioned that, I wouldn't call it a data point, but that difference, that contrast here before quite a while ago. But I was reminded of it in a Slack thread that I was chatting with someone this morning who finds themselves in the, I don't know if you would say unfortunate or fortunate position of they're a solopreneur now. Whether voluntary or involuntary, it didn't seem like that's really what the plan was going in. And this individual asked a very open, broad, but very good question. What are the pitfalls that someone in their position should avoid? And I've got three ideas, three responses. And I took about all of 90 seconds to reply. It was brief and probably, knowing me, slightly pithy. But the number one biggest pitfall, well, maybe number three. I'm going to go in reverse order. The number three biggest pitfall would be managing status of engagements. So estimates, proposals, contracts, invoices. If you have 3 or 5 prospects, 7, 8, 10, 15 clients, 2 or 3 are overdue, there's different statuses. Some want net 30, some want net 60. Some contracts are still being negotiated. It gets overwhelming very quickly if every single one of those is just an independent file. And all this video isn't here to say, go get Hello Bonsai or Honeybook or Dubsado or any of those CRMs that do like a one interface flow of proposal, contract, and payment. Like, they're all brilliant softwares. Go get one. They solve the problem of that entire process of maintaining engagement status, cleaning all of that up, making that a single flow, a single place to look. That huge. That is huge. That stuff turns into herding cats so fast. It's crazy. It's overwhelming, and it can really stress you out, and you don't want to look unprofessional on that front. So that's that. This video isn't even about that. The next one would be having a system for fulfillment and having your notes and your status of fulfillment and tasks and to-dos and all of that administrative project and project management information in one place. So any app, Notion, Asana, Trello, ClickUp, pick one. They're all amazing. You're going to find one and they're going to serve you really well. That's all kind of one thing. It's like the administration of the business and the account management and project management, basically, in one. So that's number 3. Number 2 would be you really need to connect that CRM. So if you've got a CRM that you're doing all your account management work with, and you've got marketing front, and you've got accounting software, whether that's QuickBooks or Xero or whatever, connecting those is a big opportunity. And a website is kind of the place where those things get connected, because if you've got a great website, and I make them on Squarespace, you really have that serve as the opportunity to vet and validate your credibility. So others still use that, and they go there and they check who you are is legitimate, and they get comfortable with working with you. So that's sort of the other one. And the number one would be being a generalist. Plain and simple. Being a generalist is a terrible idea. That is a tough road to hoe. It's hard to feed your family. It's hard to sell anything to anyone and have any conversation with any specificity. So I would say being a generalist is probably the biggest pitfall that someone falls in. And I mention all that because when you find yourself going from being an employee to being a solopreneur in, I guess, any kind of entrepreneurship, you're going to get a lot of those things wrong, and you can't fire yourself. So if someone worked for you in the past and they got a lot of shit wrong, you would just fire them. That option isn't on the table. So you've got to figure it out. And therein lies why, if you get something wrong 10% of the time as an employee, you get fired. But if you get it 10% wrong, 10% right as an entrepreneur, you're crushing it. So this all draws on that bigger idea that, like I mentioned at the outset, the thing about entrepreneurship is that you don't see the net until you leap. You know what another metaphor I've used in the past is stitching your parachute on the way down. It's a little more military, but you get the idea. And, you know, when I started out, I was a generalist. So I get this. I feel the pain. Like, I was take all comers. If you had warm blood and wanted to hire me, we were doing this. And we did all kinds of work, from branding, brand governance, and social media content creative, video creative, content creation, web design, email marketing. We were doing all kinds of stuff. And it quickly became difficult to manage all of those scopes. That's why I mentioned having some sort of proposal and estimate contract flow system, like the Bonsai or Honey book at the beginning. Huge W. I went into, I think the first one I tried was Dibzado, and it was really great. I didn't have any issues with it. And but the problem was operations, hiring, SOPs, creating systems for repeated success. When you do a lot of things, you have to do that in silo for every single one of those. And as a solopreneur, managing that was impossible. Absolutely impossible. So we stopped doing certain things. We stopped doing branding. We stopped doing brand governance. We stopped and then niched into web design. But even across web design with Shopify, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, even having processes for each one of those became overwhelming. And to be fast and good and cheap, well, maybe not cheap, we had to niche even further. And that's why I niched into Squarespace, because at least it's delightful to use and you don't have very many negative conversations like, why has my site been hacked? So what I really like about that system is that it solves entrepreneur problems and gets out of the way. And at the end of the day, when you're a solopreneur, that's really, really valuable. You don't need to be on a call at 2 a.m. wondering why your website is covered with, Russian wristwatch ads, which literally happened once with a WordPress website. I think that pivot into niching down to just doing Squarespace websites is an incredibly important aspect of how and why my business has found success in the last few years. And the next one would be the launching of my DIY, my Done With You, DIY, done, do it yourself. My Done With You, DWY. I don't like that acronym at all. I mentioned a few videos back about how I wanted to take my process and bring it to a community of people who can't afford to hire the agency. Like, you can do it yourself with my process. It's awesome. It's vetted. It's made 100 websites or more. It's made more than 100 websites, actually. but I didn't name it right. I didn't name the steps and the modules correctly. And I didn't position it well enough to sell. So every single person I talked to about joining that cohort just signed up for the agency, which in hindsight makes perfect sense because that's what it was selling. That's what it was talking about. So now I've got that all reimagined and it's about to launch and I'm super excited about it. I'm going to be recording the video for YouTube to explain it this afternoon. And really, it's all I'm thinking about all day. I'm super excited about recording that video. So I've gotten a lot of things wrong, and I'm still here. That would not be the case if I had a jobby job and got this many things wrong. But those wrongs have made a whole lot of right. They've produced a whole lot of success. So I guess, I don't know what I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is leap. You'll see the landing spot on your way through it, and you're going to be fine. That's the moral of the story. So think about how to draw on the bigger idea that you want to publish or get out into the world. Get it out. That's what I'm doing. I haven't even made all the modules, but I'm going to start selling it and talking about it, creating content for it. When people sign up, I will make all the modules. But what if I was to make all the modules and nobody signs up? Then you can't get that time back. That's why you bring people into the program first. Get it out. Perfection is procrastination. And I have to keep reminding myself of that too, because I am absolutely prone to living that life. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. Happy Wednesday. I will see you back here on Friday. Like and subscribe. Join me in here. I do weird videos like this all the time when we chat about what it all means or how hard it is or what it looks like. And I just like to talk about not only the things I'm inspired by, the things that I'm challenged by on these videos too. That's what this whole live feed is for. So anyway, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you Friday.